An internal investigation over a political sign. The Brunswick County Democratic Party posted this sign you see here back in June before President Joe Biden dropped out as the Democratic presidential candidate. But the party received a code violation after someone filed a complaint about the height of that sign. We have since found out the person who complained about the sign is the director of the county's Code Administration Office. WBCT's Delaney Tarpley found out there is now an investigation into this issue. Delaney, what is the investigation centering on?
Well, Fran, I'm told county officials are looking into why the director of Code Administration filed a complaint over the height of the sign. We were not able to find anything that says the sign violated a county code.
The Brunswick County Democratic Party calls it a sign of the times.
Both sides are supposed to be able to express their First Amendment rights to support candidates. It's quite disturbing that our experience was that we felt like we're not quite allowed to without a lot of pushback, including from government officials.
Party leaders claim their free speech was limited earlier this summer when they posted this sign for the Biden-Harris campaign. Shortly after, they noticed the county put a code violation sign on it. The county said they needed a permit to put up a sign taller than 6 feet.
And we see lots of other signs around the county that are more than 6 feet tall. We are seeing Republican signs for candidates over 6 feet tall in the county, some new, some old, none with code violations on them.
The property owner eventually paid for the permit and was told the code violation sign would be removed within a week or so. But then months passed. That led them to ask the director of Code Administration, Michael Slate, why they were called out specifically when there are other signs also in violation.
He and the deputy director both assured us that this was not political. The building code director said that they were a complaint-driven department and they didn't have the staff to address every sign in the county in violation.
But who filed that complaint? According to the Democratic Party, Slate admitted he filed it. The county, in an email to us on Wednesday, acknowledged Slate filed the complaint as well. Slate is a registered Republican. The county said in a statement to us they've opened an investigation into the incident, also saying they, quote, certainly acknowledge that our staff could have done better in addressing this code safety issue with the Brunswick County Democratic Party. Allen says in such an important election year, it's disheartening to feel singled out.
It made us question whether First Amendment freedom of speech rights are treated equivalently in this county, or if it depends on what your party affiliation is.
Throughout this whole process, Democratic Party leaders say Brunswick County officials could never direct them to the written rule that limits political signs to shorter than 6 feet without a permit. We searched for a height restriction in the county's 400-page Unified Development Ordinance and could not find one.
Delaney, where does that sign stand today, and does it still say Biden-Harris?
Well, the same sign is still there, but now it's a Democratic campaign sign for county commissioners on one side, and on the other side, it denounces the Conservatives' Project 2025. The Democratic Party did have to get an attorney involved to remove the code violation, which the county then agreed to do. They did say, though, that the sign will have to come down after the election.